Let me paint the picture for you. Jesus in this house, and he's surrounded by lawyers and scribes and all types of people who had come from all the area around Judea and Galilee. And here in this house, stuffed with people, the Spirit of God is moving. Scripture tells us in the 5th chapter of Luke, it says the power of the Lord was strong in that place to heal. And outside of the house, these men, they're feeling the power, even though they're not in the house. They're not even hearing what Jesus is saying, but the power is so intense. So they decide to go get their friend who's sick of the palsy, it says. And they put him on a conveyance of some sort, and they bring him to this house. And then they realize that they're not going to be able to get their friend in there in the presence of Jesus because that crowd is so thick. And so they come up with another plan. They say, let's go to the top of the house and we'll let him down. And so the scripture says that they did. Now, I read in one commentary where they said that in a lot of houses in those days in that area were flat roofs. And many of them had a trap door that would go down into the house. And perhaps this was the case, but the trap door wasn't big enough to let the conveyance down with a man on it. So they had to tear away some of the tiles. And all the while, Jesus he's down there in the house, and all of a sudden you hear this commotion up on the roof. And then the next thing you know, it opens up, and here are these men just allowing this conveyance to go down into the room. I'm assuming they had ropes on it. And Jesus, he looks up and he says, the faith of these men. He commends the faith of these men because they are going to extraordinary extremes to bring their friend into the presence of Jesus. And I want to tell you something, church. That has a very, very deep meaning when you think about this. These men who cared so much for their friend that they were prepared to do whatever it took to bring healing to this man. Now, if we could just apply this to the hearts of Christian believers all across the land, to say that there's such a deep, deep, deep caring in our hearts for those who are lost and on their way to perish. And if only we could bring that intensity of caring into our Christian community and say, whatever it takes to win those that I know are lost and bring them to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.